Hello and welcome to the Mental Health Gaming Podcast. As usual, life can be a little bit dark, life can be a little bit challenging, but we're here to bring you a little bit of joy and a little bit of light. I'm Stu, your host, and unfortunately, I'm going solo this week because poor Brad is unwell. So we're sending him all our love. I'm sure you'll join me in that and hoping that he's better soon. A little bit of a different format this week. There's a discussion between me and Brad we recorded last week about a game that was still embargoed at the time. So hopefully you can enjoy that. And then I've got two that I will be talking about. So first off, here we go. Here's the discussion about a certain bus.
I've been playing a cosy cooking simulation adventure game called Fruitbus. You play as a young, I think it's a bear. I'm pretty sure it's a bear who inherits their grandma's fruit truck, Fruitbus, where they used to serve like different types of fruit-based products. You inherit it and you go on an adventure because grandma has one last request in her will, whereby she wants a party with all her old friends together, but you've got to go find them, invite them, and give them a reason to go because she's, like as grandma says, not everyone is still friendly with her because things happen. So you've got to convince everyone to go. You do that by driving your fruit bus, making some money, and doing some little quests for the people you meet. It's just this really cool little game about what is life, what's important in life, what's important to you, friendship, family, adventure, discovery, all those things. And it's got this really heartwarming message to it. And whilst you're doing it, you have to prepare different dishes based around fruit and cook, essentially, and make money. There's many different ways of doing it. You have to do all the chopping and the cooking and the mixing and the serving, and all of that goes with it. It's not like the longest game in the world or anything like that, but to be honest, I had just a great time with it, in all fairness. Played it over about 4 or 5 nights, just in little segments, and it's just one of those, it's just really heartwarming. There's so many little elements to it, like you can decorate your food truck in many different ways. You go foraging for different fruits, which you need to do, obviously different recipes, and each of the dishes you make has actually a different feel to it. It's not just a case of doing the same chopping every time. Each dish you make has a different feel, so it feels like you are on like this big journey of learning how to cook and all different things. And yeah, it's just such a lovely, cosy game that I just had a lovely time with at a time when it's needed as well. I don't think it's something that people are going to go, I must have this. But it's just one of those that if you need something heartwarming at the right time, it is perfect for that.
I mean, that's what you need sometimes. You just need that sort of gently paced, bright, colourful, cheery kind of thing, brighten you up. There's a huge number of people who play cozy games that have no kind of edge to them, and I think it's a lovely thing. It's a lovely option to have. I've been eyeing up that Utopia to play. I think are you playing that one, or are you going to be playing it? I think
I've got it. Yes.
Yeah. That really appeals to me, and yeah, sometimes you just need it. Yeah, they're like a little holiday for your brain, aren't they?
Yes.
So there you go. That was that. Certainly seems interesting. Yeah, I'm quite intrigued by that one. But I have not been playing Fruitbus. I've not been playing any fruit-based games this week, which I guess is not particularly unusual. I've not been playing any bus-based games this week either, which is, again, not unusual. I have been playing a game based on nuclear war, which, yeah, that's definitely more in my wheelhouse, especially as it was the anniversary of the film Threads. I think it was, last week or the week before, the BBC made-for-TV movie. If you've not seen it, I would say go and watch it, but I would also say tread lightly because that is one brutal movie. Oh my goodness. It's still, even after 40 years, it's still got the power to strip you of any hope for humanity. So you have to be in the right headspace when you watch that one. But yeah, the game I've been playing has a much more sort of lighter approach to the use of nuclear armament, and it's called Utopia Must Fall. Now, this is an indie game. It's styled after really early 8-bit trackball games like Missile Command, however you want to pronounce it, where you are a lone base and you have to defend said base and its inhabitants against an attack. And unlike Missile Command, where you deployed nukes to destroy nukes, much in the whatever it was called, the Star Wars program of the 80s that Ronald Reagan always tried getting running, you kind of, in this one, it's like a mashup of that game and sort of Space Invaders, Galaga, that kind of thing. So you've got enemies that come from the top, not just weaponry. And it works so well. So well. I've been totally taken by this game. To the degree where I went out and bought a trackball. Oh, I say went out. I didn't go out. I ordered it off Amazon. But I got a trackball. You know, there's an ulterior motive for that as well, because there are arcade games that use spinners and trackballs that it'd be good for, and I'd love to have a crack on those. But yeah, mainly for this game. Is it playable without a trackball? It is, but it's nowhere near as fun. Nowhere near. So you're controlling this, turret on an axis, which has a 180-degree rotation, and the trackball obviously moves your cursor left and right across the screen, but also moves it up along that axis. And there are weapons you can get where you're focusing your weaponry at a sort of, you can either focus it close to you, where it's, if you keep the cursor close to you, the fire is spread. If you put it further away, the fire is condensed. And you need both tactics to be able to shoot down the enemies, the little Space Invader guys. So it's very, very clever. And only a trackball can get you across and back the screen as quickly as you need, and comfortably and accurately. So that's great. It auto fires apart from your tactical nukes that you have. You've got a railgun. It's basically just, anti-aircraft flak gun that fires automatically. And then you get these enemies come across the screen in patterns and in waves, just like Galaga. And yeah, you've got to destroy them. And also asteroids, just because they wanted to throw in a bit of the game asteroids in there as well. Asteroids come, and if you shoot those, they split into smaller asteroids. It's like a game that should have existed and never did. A spin-off of Missile Command. It's like an homage. It's kind of all those things in one, and it does it beautifully because it's just really exciting. You really want to crack on and destroy these things, and that sense of control and momentum you get from using a trackball is lovely. I haven't used one in years, and it reminded me how much fun they are, and that it's unfortunate that controllers have become comparatively generic, and games therefore have kind of adjusted themselves to work in kind of one particular way, and you get the odd one that sort of throws the formula off the tracks a little, like Death Stranding. And of course, there's the whole VR stuff with VR controllers, which does it in a different way. But yeah, we haven't had much in the way of differentiation for quite some time. So ironically, going back in time and using an old piece of technology like a trackball feels kind of modern in a weird way, just because it's so unused. And it's a nice way to experience a game. The graphics are, as I say, really old school. You get a few filters you can choose from. They're all excellent. You'll have your own preference, but there's some really good ones in there. There's an amber CRT one that's particularly fantastic, but they're all great. And it really kind of mimics that vector graphic style that, Defender and Asteroids had really, really well. Quite impressively well, and it's such an appealing look that it's just kind of timeless and ageless. So it's not a game for the ages, but it's an arcade game of a particular style that has been quite absent for a while. That is really, really highly recommended from me. It's currently only $4.99 UK at the moment. I don't think it goes higher than that. I think that's its stock price. And if you've got any interest in it at all, and particularly if you've got a trackball, I would very highly recommend picking it up. Really good fun. And I've been very lucky this year with getting some really great arcade games, and this is definitely one of them. Just to stick with something that is a throwback to the early 80s, and not even intentionally, it just kind of crept up on me, is Yars Recharged, which is a sort of sequel, sort of reimagining of Yars Revenge, which was an early 80s, I think, Atari game. Yeah, it was Atari. Where it was a little bit unusual for the time. You kind of, and this applies to the new game in a lot of ways, you are a little ship that is also like an insect, and you have to, left to right, destroy a boss/boss base on the right hand side of the screen that is trying to kill you. It has like a protective shield that you have to destroy, and destroying it and eating it builds up your bar so that you can fire a major weapon at the boss and destroy it. So it's kind of like risk reward of building up your bar so that you can destroy this thing whilst dipping back behind this big shield that sits in the middle of the screen. So they've mixed it up a little bit with the sequel/reboot/remake/whatever you want to call it, where you face these giant bosses that are based on hexagons and have turrets and power cores mixed within them, and they kind of reconfigure each stage. They're just a different sort of rearrangement of where these hexagons are, and therefore how you get shot at, where you need to destroy them. The destroying these cores or these guns creates a gap that you can shoot through with the giant cannon, and the cannon only appears, and you don't have a shield in the center of the screen like you do in the original game. You only get the shield and the cannon when you've collected the requisite amount of sort of power-ups so that you can go and activate it. So it's this, again, risk reward of diving in, eating or shooting as much of the shielding as you can to build up your bar, and then activating the cannon and then shooting at this thing. And if it sounds a little strange, it kind of is. And I think that's what makes it stand out. So it's nothing phenomenal, but it's really good entertainment because you know exactly what you got to do. It's all there on the screen in front of you. There's a lot of risk reward in that you're getting shot at constantly while you're trying to dip in and out and eat this shield. The eating is much more efficient than shooting for destroying these things and gaining the power-ups you need. And that thing alone really kind of sets it apart. And it is a very obvious kind of early 80s mashup thing where they were like, oh, you know, Pac-Man, it's kind of consumption is the thing, and then the Space Invaders, which is the shooting thing. Well, if we smushed them together, what would happen? And the answer is, you know, really kind of fun, unusual game. It works really well with the twin stick controls, and there's a great feature where you can adjust the difficulty by, at the beginning of each level, you can choose to make your ship have handicaps, like that it goes too fast. Not too fast, but, you know, fast, which makes controlling it a bit difficult, but you get a points bonus for doing that. And two other ones as well. One is where you have no cannon, you can only eat and therefore destroy the enemy by direct contact. And one where the cannons on the enemies are improved and increased. So it's got a really good way of sort of tweaking the difficulty and keeping it fresh. The only downside is that the early levels are quite easy, and you can have to plough through them again to get to the stage where you're trying to increase your high score. It does have a set number of missions, I think, rather than it just being score-based, which is good, you know. I want there to be an end to it rather than just it being scores. I've not reached the end yet because it does get quite tough, but I'm really enjoying it. So incredibly simplistic, can be quite expensive. I would look for it in a sale. I got it on sale for about £3 £4, something like that. It can go up as high as £7 or £8, which I wouldn't recommend it at. I think it's got limited appeal and replay value, but when you're playing it, you'll enjoy it and you'll get enough out of it to justify that. But it's, you know, it's got sharp mechanics. It's good. I would like to see another one where the graphics are much improved, because they're okay, but they're very minimal. Better graphics, some more upgrade options, a little bit more of a tweak to the formula, just make it a little bit more sophisticated and improve the sort of level layout in terms of the progression. But yeah, it's a good one. It's solid enough and it's a fun little diversion if you want to try it out. Okay, and sadly that's it for this week. So again, you know, we wish Brad all the best and hope that he's better very soon. Missed him this week, obviously. Always enjoyed chatting to him. But in the meantime, until next week, follow us on all the socials. Make sure you join our Discord if you wish to chat with us for any reason about any subject you like. Check out our content on the website, and until next time, stay safe and stay sane.